You have been keeping the tally. Not out loud, but you know it is there. Every favor you quietly logged, every bill you absorbed without being asked, every time you said, "Do not worry about it," while a part of you kept the receipt. Last night, in the dark, you ran the numbers again. What you gave, what came back, what you were too proud to ask for and too honest to forget. Maybe it is money. Maybe it is something with no price tag: your time, your body, your patience. The way you are always the one who remembers everyone else's needs and forgets to state your own. And underneath, a quieter voice you rarely let speak. Am I being taken for granted? Or am I the one who never lets anyone get close enough to take anything? Put your hand on your chest. Feel how much of that is being held there as a knot you call responsibility. Drop your shoulders away from your ears. Take one breath with me and let it go slowly. Because there is a conversation about something shared, a cost, a promise, a boundary that you have been postponing for weeks. And today, the sky is pulling it toward the surface. Here is why you cannot keep postponing it, and what happens the moment you finally say the real number out loud. The first quarter moon is burning in Sagittarius today, in the 8th house of your sky. The part of your chart that governs everything we share, inherit, and entrust to another person. It is the house of intimacy, of other people's money, of the terms that never get spoken, of the quiet contract every relationship runs on. And this moon stands opposite Uranus in Gemini, in your 2nd house of money and self-worth, and that single opposition is the architecture of your entire day. Uranus only recently settled into Gemini for good. It arrived this spring and will remain for years, so this is the first time you are feeling the full stretch of its reach into your finances and your sense of value. In the Vedic sky, the moon moves through Anuradha Nakshatra today, a star ruled by Saturn, set in Scorpio, the sign where the moon is said to fall, translated into your body. Feelings do not float today, they sink. You may feel your patience go thin over things that should not matter: a tone of voice, a lukewarm coffee, a text left on read. Mars is moving through Cancer, weakening itself in your house of words, and that is the temper you have been wrestling, a short fuse with a long memory. Meanwhile, Venus, radiant and at home in Libra, is warming your house of daily work and connection, beauty showing up in the middle of the ordinary. And Saturn, who rules this very nakshatra, is retrograde in Aries, in your 12th house of release, reviewing since late July every ounce of energy you spend without counting the cost. All of it layered beneath a sun that is finishing its long journey through Leo, your house of home and roots, closing a season that began in late July. And 1 week from today, a partial lunar eclipse falls in Pisces, stirring your dreams and your intuition, quietly closing a chapter of the year. But the deepest music of this whole season is Jupiter. The great expander has been crossing Cancer since June, the sign of home, of the mother, of the inner child, and it will keep watering that part of your life until the summer of 2027. Jupiter has not visited Cancer in 12 years. 12. Whatever you plant now inside your 4 walls, you may live inside for a decade. In love and in money, because for you, Taurus, the two are never really separate. You may notice yourself overfunctioning today. Managing, smoothing, absorbing the risk so no one else has to feel it. Venus in Libra is handing you something soft. For couples, a renewed pulse of desire, a return of appetite in a bond grown familiar. For singles, flirtation that feels like warm weather after a long winter. Mars in Cancer, restless in your house of words, wants you to make the first move, set your ego aside and speak first. But the moon's face-off with Uranus asks you to brace for the turn. A conversation about trust, sex, or shared money could change direction without warning. Financial concern or a personal limit you had not even considered might surface mid-sentence, wearing the face of a sudden cost. You could feel pressured to decide quickly, because the atmosphere is charged and the silence feels expensive. Do not decide. Ask what is changing. Ask who benefits. Review the terms as if you were not in the room, because that is exactly when you can see them clearly. People are not always forthcoming about expectations when money is involved. Sometimes not out of malice, but out of the same fear you carry. So write it down. An email, a memo, a single text that says, "Just so we are on the same page." Recording the details is not a lack of trust. It is the highest form of care. It is saying, "This matters enough to me to get it right." And here is the reframe I need you to sit with. the center of everything. What feels like a threat to your security today? The surprise price, the vague promise, the request that arrives with no explanation, is not instability. It is the sky making hidden terms visible. You have spent years believing safety is something you control. The stocked pantry, the plan B, the account you never touch. But control is a room you have to stand guard over your whole life. Clarity is a door you can walk through once. The deal that survives being written down is the deal that was actually real, and the bond that survives the hard conversation is the bond you can actually lean on. Intimacy should not require an answer before you understand the question. You are not losing control today. You are being invited to share it, and shared control, Taurus, is the only security that has ever lasted. At home, your body told you this before the sky did. The clutter in the hallway, the unpaid bill on the counter, the room you close without knowing why. Because for you, structure reflects emotional structure. Your house, your garden, your four walls are a mirror of your inner state. And here is the gift of this season. Jupiter in Cancer, until mid-2027, is opening opportunities around home and family that simply are not available in ordinary years, solutions to a living situation, a family situation, a long-term security picture that have not been on the table for 12 years. Make time for the people under your roof today, even if it is 10 focused minutes. Check in on your mind the way you check your mirrors. You are handling more than you are giving yourself credit for. And the exhaustion you are calling normal is data, not weakness. Wear blue today if you want armor, and schedule your hardest conversation in the window between 3 and 5 this afternoon, when the sky leans in your favor. Before you add anything to a cart, read the return policy. Before you commit to anything, name what feels fair out loud, to yourself first, then to whoever is in it with you. And if work has felt like a place you merely pass through, look sideways today. Bond with the people you share it with, float the idea of a group trip, and let the destination that keeps showing up have its say. Spain has been whispering to you for a reason, and now, resolve the loop, because it is time. That conversation you have been postponing? It is not about the money, and it was never really about the money. It is about whether you are allowed to have needs in a room full of other people's. So here is what you do, today, in this order. Name the real number to yourself. Just say it, under your breath without apology. Then put your hand back on your chest. Feel the difference, the knot loosening, just slightly, and say it to them. In writing, if your courage needs a bridge. The terms on the table are not a threat. They are the door. And the person who can sit with you and name what is fair, with you, is the person you have been waiting for. If this landed in your chest, if you have felt the weight of carrying the tally alone, if you recognized yourself in the room full of other people's needs, type clear in the comments. Not for me. For you. Declare it. I am allowed to name what I need. You were never controlling, Taurus. You were holding on, gripping the rails, because for a long time the ground was shaking. But the ground is not shaking anymore. It is settling. Jupiter is rebuilding the foundation under your feet, one quiet room at a time. And you get to walk into it the way you do everything. Slowly, deliberately, with your hand open instead of clenched. Trusting the one thing you have never fully trusted before, that what is yours will still be there when you let go of the wheel long enough to breathe.